It's a lot worse than we thought. Spanish officials now estimate that nearly 50,000 migrants crossed into the city of Ceuta from Morocco in the last 24 hours alone. That's a nearly 60% increase of the city's 83,000 population in less than a day. At least 18 people have died with bodies found in the water. The Spanish military has been deployed. Authorities on the ground say that the border is now totally collapsed. So why the hell is this all happening now? Well, firstly, if you look at the map, the Spanish city in question is actually on the African continent. So these migrants haven't swam all the way across the Strait of Gibraltar. But interestingly, entering by swimming is kind of important, because earlier this month, Spain's Supreme Court ruled that immediate deportations can only be applied to migrants who cross by land, like climbing over a physical border fence. Meaning, migrants intercepted while swimming cannot be removed without due process, legal representation, and the ability to claim asylum. Now, is that what has caused this latest surge? Well, it's disputed. Officials believe it could be one influencing factor, but not the sole reason, because also many yesterday crossed by land as well. But what happens now to these 49,000 people? Well, Spain say that they intend to deport as many people as quickly as possible despite the Supreme Court's ruling, but other countries seem to believe that the damage may have already been done. France announced an increase in security at their border with Spain, while Italy is threatening to suspend Spain from EU's internal open border policy. But as we know more, I'll keep you guys updated.
We've all seen the news by now. We have all seen the back and forth theories by now. Nothing is as it seems, as per usual. Let's move on.
You won't believe how dirty these kid shows have become. So as these kids are sitting down, watch when this kid gets up. As these kids get up, remember, they're kids. This is what the animators left as their print. Girls' print is pretty normal. But look what they did with the boys' print. And I both know what they were trying to imply with that. I feel like with animation, everything's intentional. How would they put something like that in a kid's show? Just be careful what you let your kids watch, because someone pushed an agenda here, and they probably thought none of us would notice. This is way too dark and too grown for children. As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
I just don't understand. I mean, I understand why they do it, and it's evil, but there are teams of people behind this, and not one of them pushing back is exactly what I don't understand.
This is right now, and this is not Maui. This is Washington. It's crazy how all these trees are standing, but the rims of the cars are melting. We've seen this before. But just wait until I show you what the news was saying not too long ago. So 60,000 people evacuated. 600 buildings burned down so far. It looks like the apocalypse over there. I mean, it's everything. We also know there's fires happening all over the world right now. So I'm going to throw some stuff up on the screen for you to look at with me. We have this picture right here of these rims melting and trees standing right beside. Now, we've already gone over all this and certain temperatures and stuff. I think everyone's caught up to speed now. Now, in the United States, we've already seen over 1,000 wildfires this year. And again, this is something recent, the last year or two, because we didn't usually see fires this extreme all the time, every day, every week, 5 years ago. But completely unrelated, the news actually posted a crazy story I think we should look at. It's completely unrelated to all this fire right now. Okay, now check this out. This is insane. You remember when they used to say that this thing right behind me was just some kind of theory, Well, check this out. By the way, again, it's completely unrelated, not relevant, totally different subject than what's happening in Washington right now.
It's got a live demonstration of directed energy weapons. He says the Pentagon intends to buy tens to hundreds of these in the coming years. It's the first known viewing of a directed energy weapon demonstration by a sitting War Secretary. So what are they? Directed energy weapons fire concentrated energy at the speed of light. And for years, intelligence officials working abroad have reported brain injuries known as Havana syndrome. The condition could be linked to directed energy weapons. And earlier this week, we spoke to Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist.
Oh, it's like Mountain Dew. That's pretty insane, is it not? Because they told us that whole thing didn't exist, and now they're putting it on the news. I wonder why, by the way. And also completely unrelated, again, not relevant to what's happening right now. They actually, just in Washington, blocked a new data center just recently. Not relevant.
I want to repeat, all of that not related at all, okay? But you guys already knew that.
Something is going on with Ariana Grande, bro. Straight up. You seen the video, guys. People are saying that it's red paint. That it's okay. Something is up. She walked in the room. Everybody got excited. They started jumping for joy. Something is going on in that video, guys, and I know nothing about it. I don't know why she has red paint on her. People are saying that it could possibly be food coloring. Shut up. Something is up in that video, and something's been going on with Ariana Grande for a long time, guys. I can't figure this out. Nobody seems to figure it out. People are saying that she was replaced. What you mean to say is that she was replaced with a better version of herself. I'm not sure what's going on here, guys. Everything is red and black. Everything seems off in this video, guys. But of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. As always, guys, this is art. All right? Maybe they're doing an art show. Something is up. Of course, I don't know what it is. Let me know if you know what it is. I'm out.
A little context would have been nice as to where this had come from, so I filled in the gaps myself. Apparently, this is just part of her new music videos where she goes feral on a bunch of male movie producers with a chainsaw. I mean, take from that what you want. Hello and welcome back. I hope you're all having an excellent day. If you're new to this show, my name is NEXOR. Basically, what I do is I gather us around a rabbit hole, we dive nose first down into it, and it's not to find the bottom or to find any of the offshoots. It's just to find the thread, which resides, sometimes pretty deep down it, in all of the static and the noise, extract it and practice our discernment along the way. If you're into that, you're in for a treat because there is a lot more lined up. And one thing I'm going to ask right now is that you hit subscribe if you haven't already, because you've had a teaser of what's to come. If you enjoy it and you want to see more in the future, next best move is just to hit that subscribe button, get it out of the way, drop a like on the video too. But we're aiming to hit 200,000 subscribers by the end of this month, the beginning of September. If every single person who watches who isn't already subscribed was to do that, we'd smash that goal well into probably closer to 250,000 if I'm honest. But look, I'm only asking for the 200k. Now with all that requesting out of the way, let's crack on with the rest of this episode.
They took the trees, the fruit trees, they took the trees and sold us back the fruit. Then they took the water, rivers, rain, springs that fed civilizations for thousands of years, bottled it and sold it back to us. They took the land that existed here long before any human drew lines around it. And they said, if you want to stand here, you better have a payment plan. Everything we need to exist, food, water, shelter, was already here. Nobody created it. But somehow you were born owing for it. Am I the only one this drives mad? I mean, why is a free life such a crazy idea? Why does simply existing without bills, debt, or permission sound like a fantasy? Why in the hell did we ever let anybody convince us that this is the way things were supposed to be?
It's as simple as that, but they tell you it's because human society is built on exchanging labor to secure scarce resources like food, water, and shelter, which are all things that came after this concept, by the way, so that doesn't hold up well, does it?
Anybody else find this strange? What happened to Lil Wayne? Does this even look like the same person to you? Because people are saying that this is a completely different person. I don't know what is going on, but when you look at a side-by-side comparison, the right side of your screen compared to the left side of your screen, what do you notice? Do you notice anything bizarre about this besides me? Because something definitely ain't right about any of this. You have to admit this. And again, why are all of these celebrities and these famous people, why are they looking different? What is going on anymore? Because this is the person I remember right here, Lil Wayne. This is the person I remember. And I'm sure that this is the person that most, if not all of you, remember. Again, people are saying that this isn't the same guy. That's what people are saying. What do you think? Do you think that this is the same person? Because you have to admit there are a lot of bizarre things happening anymore. And again, why are all of these famous people looking different? What is really going on? What do you think? Comment down below.
We have covered this, but the internet is still in a frenzy, apparently. The missing tattoos are a result of the smartphone camera AI upscaling the video from a long distance and not being able to get the detail. Also, an image from 20 years ago and now are not comparable, period.
Everything you do, say, write, and post is being monitored. In January 2025, the young teacher's assistant lost a lesson plan when a disruptive student closed her computer. She vented with a joke to friends. Should I shoot him? She wasn't armed and she posed no immediate threat. She said this in a private story online on Snapchat to 3 people, and none of those people reported her to authorities.
Have you been on Snapchat earlier today?
Yes, I was, yeah.
Okay. That is you, correct?
Oh, yes. This was a joke, though.
But as it turns out, the 3 people with access to the private story weren't alone. They were joined by Snapchat's artificial intelligence system. Snapchat AI scanned her message, flagged it, and then sent it immediately to the FBI.
You did say shoot student, so you are going to go with us. You're going to have to stay the night in jail.
The story is horrifying, but it illustrates a new and dark reality. The world you grew up in is gone.
The world we grew up in was just another version of what we are living in today, no matter how many people want to look at it through, I don't know, rose-tinted glasses. It was always, in some form, absolutely terrible and headed this way regardless.
If you've had one of these stuck to your clothes, you'll know how annoying they are. But this tiny burr led to one of the most useful inventions ever made. Throwback to 1941, when Swiss engineer George de Mestral went hunting in the Alps and came home covered in these tiny burrs. They were stuck all over his clothes and even on his dog's fur. It's not because they're sticky, but under a microscope, he discovered why. They were covered in hundreds of tiny hooks. Those hooks can grab onto tiny loops in your fabric, creating a strong grip. So he tried to turn this natural hook and loop design into an invention, but finding the right material for that took over 10 years. Eventually, he created a synthetic version using nylon. Then he combined the French words velours and crochet, or velvets and hook, and called his invention Velcro. Yeah, you can judge, but I'd still choose Velcro shoes over laces any day.
Okay, I want to show you a little secret a guy taught me from the American Rangers. And he always said, you know, in a tactical situation, the sound of Velcro, you can hear it a mile away. And everybody knows that sound of Velcro. It's and, well, I'll show you. So here we have a Velcro pouch. And this is the sound that gives you away in the tactical situation. And so he taught me a method of opening the Velcro so that if you do it right, no one will hear the Velcro. Okay, and it's real fast. And so the Velcro, I've got it on as best as I can get it on. And this is what he taught me.
Okay, so I was not expecting that last part, but somehow I was expecting it at the same time, you know, because there is no way you are getting around the sound of Velcro peeling. A massive thank you to every single person that you see on screen right here, because they are the reason that I get to do this every single day. They actually offset some of the production costs of editing and, well, recording, keeping these lights on me and everything else. You know, it does rack up quite a bit of an electricity bill. Now, I'm not asking you to join. I've never done that and never will. However, if you are interested in joining, there is a link down below. Otherwise, let's crack on with the rest of this episode.
What's wrong with this photo? Nope, it's not the flock camera being run over. That's fine. Do you see it? Yes, it's the fact that there appears to be another camera watching this camera. I know, a lot of us think of China as being the leader of mass surveillance, but let me tell you, we are not far behind. When it comes to video monitoring of citizens, the US is nearly as bad as China. China has about 1 camera for every 4.1 people. The US has 70 million surveillance cameras, which works out to about 4.6 people per installed camera. And they tell us we live in a free country.
Actually, I'd like to point out that the UK is leagues ahead of the US when it comes to who is considered more heavily surveilled. CCTV is denser per capita and has more urban concentration in the tiny island that is the UK than the entirety of the United States. It is shocking.
Nikola Tesla wasn't just a genius in technology, he was also an occultist, and I can prove that to you. Look at what he's actually trying to show you here. Most people think this is just a photo. He's just randomly posing. This is all deep esoteric symbolism of understanding the soul and the mind and the body. So here you can see he's holding a light bulb, which represents you, the true self, the observer, the light. You are the observer of the mind. He's pointing at the right temple. The side of your head is called a temple because it It is the house in which awareness lives. You do not live in the physical world. You are the awareness thinking in your mind. This is what he's really trying to show you, that you are the invisible, immortal being in your mind.
Yeah, I'm a little dubious, and I know that's probably a hot take, but someone who was allegedly shut down, shunned, and ultimately cancelled for his work, you would think they would also shut down his stories and scrub traces off him, you know? We know they have done that in the past, so why let this story in particular come out? I think it's to do with so many other reasons, but most obviously it's the time travel stuff. That's what I think anyway.
In 2015, Aubrey confessed to giving her castmates a gift so bizarre it immediately stopped the show. Watch this clip twice and pay attention to everyone's face on this interview. This interview is from The Late Late Show, and the comments are split right down the middle on this one. After 7 years of filming the show she was on, most people would have a gift of flowers or a watch or some chocolates. But when James asked her about the custom gifts she made for her castmates, the entire room shifts. Just keep watching.
Story, Aubrey, is this true that when, I have to read this because when you wrapped, you gave your castmates a very unique gift. Is this true that you gave them small vials with blood, hair, fingernails and glitter?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's true.
Yep.
So my next question is... Feel free.
Now, fans in the comments will convince you, or try and convince you, that this is just Aubrey being Aubrey, playing her usual character for comedy. People in the comments are asking why she would make, or why would anyone make, personal tokens like that in the first place. Is this just dark comedy, or is it something else completely different?
Little background check on this didn't give me any more context. In fact, it made it worse because she did this with zero explanation.
Many believe a time traveler was caught on camera holding a smartphone at Elvis Presley's final concert in June of 1977. This clip makes the object appear like something that is out of place for that time period. As Elvis hands a scarf to the audience, the camera pans over the crowd, and a woman in the audience holds a dark, rectangular object with a silver square detail. Believers claim the device is a modern touchscreen smartphone, pointing out that the first iPhone did not launch until 2007. It does almost look like it is glowing up against her chest, like it has some sort of screen that hadn't been invented yet. Yet skeptics say the object is actually a period-correct pocket gadget, like a vintage 110 film camera, a tape recorder, or a small personal item. I mean, it doesn't have to be a smartphone. It could be something from the far future. Who knows? I mean, what kind of phones are they going to have in 2057 or 2087 or 2100? Who knows? If time travel becomes possible, this would be an event an Elvis superfan would definitely try to attend. So is this a real time traveler caught on camera?
I would personally say that it was just technology that matches the era, quite honestly. The mind sees what it wants to see. It's not what for me. Like a lot of things, I always approach the why first, every single time actually.
Naturally, this is where this topic would eventually lead. Alaska versus the Amazon, which one is more difficult to survive in? Now, I know I might catch some flack for this, but the Amazon rainforest, most of the time, is easier to survive in than Alaska. Assuming you dropped somebody with no experience and no equipment, just the clothes on their back, into Alaska, they would likely be dead within the first 24 to 48 hours due to exposure. You basically need to be able to make a fire to survive. The Amazon, on the other hand, while hot, is much less likely to kill you from exposure alone. So if you were to crash your plane into either of these, you're much more likely to survive in the Amazon. The answer does change, though, if you've got somebody with experience, equipment, and the time of year is summer in Alaska. Then it's going to be easier to survive here. Cleaner drinking water, easier to navigate, and you're not going to die from exposure because you know what you're doing. Once the wintertime rolls around in Alaska, though, even experienced survivalists will die out here.
So which is deadlier, the Amazon or Alaska? I guess it's, well, entirely dependent on your own experience and the time of year and the general condition that you are in. There are just too many variables to make a firm decision on that one.
Even though space, the universe, is infinite, there is a bubble that no telescope can see past, and we have no idea what anything beyond it looks like. And 13.8 billion years ago was the Big Bang, and since then, space itself has been expanding. This dot is the most distant galaxy we've ever seen. This galaxy formed when the universe was only 280 million years old, and its light, its photons, started traveling through space to us back then. But as space expanded, that galaxy got farther and farther away from us. So the wavelength of its photons literally stretched as it reached us. So now we are looking at light emitted 13.5 billion years ago of a galaxy that is now 33.8 billion light years away. Because space is expanding, we can see past the age of the universe in light years. Here's where it gets crazy. There is a speed of light. It can't go any faster, so we are limited in seeing only what light has been able to reach us in the last 13.8 billion years. And when you calculate how far away an object could be with its light still reaching us, you get a bubble with about a 46.5 billion light year radius in any direction. This is the observable universe. It's what we are able to observe, and scientists think there are about 2 trillion galaxies in this bubble. But it's like a knowledge bubble that we're trapped in because we cannot see past it, even though past it does exist. And some of it, no matter how much time passes, we will never see or know about because space is expanding away from us faster than the speed of light. And every location in the universe has their own observable universe bubble. Like a galaxy over here is going to be able to see a whole area of space that we will never be able to see. And at the same time, there's light that we haven't seen that's on its way to us right now.
To believe there is a bubble that we can't see past in our own universe relies very heavily on the idea that everyone believes that we can see into deep space in the first place, which many people happen to not believe.
And I've seen like people going there and they talk about how like everything's like a front. Like the stores aren't real. They're just there for tourists to like get an idea of what they think North Korea is. Is that true as someone who lived there?
A lot of times the tourists that are going to North Korea, they go to Pyongyang, right? And they film majestic buildings, grocery stores. I wouldn't say those are fake, but that is a building that is set up to basically free marketing. Like North Korea is great. North Korea is a socialist paradise.
It's just an experience for the people coming over, probably is all it is.
Yeah, it's just an experience.
It's not the experience of what like for the people that live there.
And some people argue the citizens of Pyongyang, they can walk into the stores, but they're monitored and they're always watched, right? Because they're interacting with the foreigners. Pyongyang is like a completely different country for us, for regular North Koreans. And not everybody can go into Pyongyang and not anybody can go out of Pyongyang.
Wow.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed whenever they interview these people, whether these are tourists or documentary makers, interviewing these citizens of North Korea, we'll call them, they always seem to be terrified. They're gulping, they say something and then they're like not even sure of themselves whether they even should have said what they said. And it all looks very scripted and very forced. It's just one thing I've noticed. What about you?
I want you to think of your favorite joke in the entire world. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself what actually made it funny? Psychologists and philosophers have been trying to answer this question for over 2,000 years. Plato and other Greek philosophers believed people found humor in previous versions of themselves and the misfortune of others because it gave them a feeling of superiority. Sigmund Freud believed laughter was a mechanism that allowed people to let off steam or nervous energy, which is why taboo or crude humor amuses us, allowing us to release what we perceive to be inappropriate emotions. The resolution of incongruity tells us that humor is when our expectations are defied, and the benign violation theory from the humor research lab tells us humor comes from the overlap of a violation, but in a safe environment. Like you would laugh if your friend tickled you, but probably not a stranger.
I don't personally have a favorite joke. I think jokes are a bit lame, actually. My humor may be a bit weird for some. I don't find jokes funny. What I find funny comes more from seeing funny things happen or just really obscure things. Anyone else like that? I'll be honest with you, my sense of humor is impossible to describe.
No way. There's no way this is possible. Shut up. People are saying that this is AI, and people are also saying that this is real, and I don't believe that. This is definitely AI. I'm not sure who's coming up with this stuff. People are saying that this is AI. I believe it. People are also saying that this is not AI, that this is possible, which is impossible because this is not possible. All I want to know is who's coming up with this stuff. That's all I want to know, because to be honest with you, if I was using AI, right, I wouldn't be able to even think about this for the moment, at least. Something's going on here, guys. People are saying that a woman ran up stairs, but it was a picture and she went inside a door, but it's really not a door and it's really not stairs. Clearly, this is AI, right? She was getting chased by 5-0. 5-0 couldn't do what she did because it's not real, guys, all right? I'm just touching on this because people keep sending me this video telling me that this is real. No, it's not. It's AI and it's clear. But of course, guys, entertainment purposes only. I'm not sure if this is AI or not. I was not there, but it looks like it is AI because this is highly impossible, right? I wonder what's behind that door. Let me know if you know what's behind that door, if this is real, but it's not. I'm out.
I'm not 100% certain that it's AI, but I will say that I'm 100% sure that it was edited for effect.
You probably haven't heard about some of the things that are happening right now. There were almost 1,000 snakes all bunched up together riding the waves of a heavy rain flood water after escaping a breeding farm. There was a woman who went on a whole Grand Theft Auto spree for a week, but it's not what you think. She accidentally stole someone else's car who looked exactly the same, and I guess they just happened to have their key sitting in the car, so she assumed it was hers. AI was wrongly used to link a grandmother to a fraud case, and she actually spent 6 months behind bars. She lost her home, her car, her dog after police arrested her at gunpoint while she was babysitting her grandkids. There's a company who's trying to build a machine that would allow prisoners to serve their sentences that are life sentences, perhaps, in minutes. There was an NFL player that went onto his Instagram story and said, "Y'all haters make $200,000 a month, while I make that in a day. We are not the same." No comment.
To the poor woman who lost her entire life being wrongly identified by AI, I hope she sues them for all they have and gets her dog back. Not in that order, though.
I know that this is widely considered to be the most depressing city in all of the world, but I still actually want to visit here. This video shows several different images of a very dark and depressing looking city, and while this might look AI generated, this is actually real and it's located in Russia. The city that we're looking at here is known as Norilsk, Russia. It's pretty much cut off from the rest of civilization besides the city itself. It's in the Arctic. Now, during the wintertime, we can see coldest temperatures reaching negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit, more than negative 50 degrees Celsius. Also gets extremely dark in the wintertime, so at this point, you're probably wondering why anybody would live here in the first place. Of course, the entire reason is the industrial aspect. It's a very large mining city. As you guys can see, infrastructure really does not look very pleasant at all. This place, just generally speaking, looks very depressing.
Am I the only person to have ever existed who doesn't want to visit a single city in the world? Cities just don't appeal to me at all.
These time lapses show the very concerning ways that humans are changing the earth. Every second, a forest the size of a soccer field is lost to deforestation. In Kazakhstan, an entire sea is almost dried up and loses 31 to 35 inches a year. And we all know about melting glaciers. Greenland loses 234 billion tons of ice per year.
Yes, humans are changing the earth in a very destructive way, but not in the way they try to convince us we are. We, as in me and you, we are not the entire problem like they try to tell us we are.
That's what this skirmish we have going on. I call it a skirmish. This is with this skirmish we have with the Islamic Republic of Iran, because they'll say, he said forget about prices. They said, despite the street, they didn't do anything, but they took care of illegal aliens, paying thousands of dollars a month in some of the most luxurious hotels in the country. It's crazy what they were doing. It's crazy. But thanks to our policies, the cost of rent is now down by more than 10% in a short period in the Atlanta area.
What a setup. I hope everyone can see how staged that was. It was almost painful.
They're called Gen Z because they're the last generation before they reset the simulation. There was X, there was Y, which is me, millennials, us, and then there was Z, and now there's Gen Alpha. Do you ever think who came up with these terms?
That would suggest that Gen Alpha, whose age ranges are 0 to 16, are the new generation for the new age. I don't think that's the case myself, but what do you think?
I'm fully convinced that Harry Potter was directly inspired by Satan, because when you look at J.K. Rowling, she was on a podcast a long time ago basically saying that a third of the spells that she wrote in the book were done through automatic writing.
Oh, really?
And for those who don't know what automatic writing is, it's where you let a demon take over your body and write through you. When you're watching these movies that are glorifying the occult and glorifying witchcraft, a lot of people think that like the spells are just fiction, it's just fables, but these are actually being inspired by demonic spirits. And check this out too, a lot of people who end up getting into the occult, you ask them what their favorite movie was as a child, guess what they'll say?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, every time.
It's so involved in our culture, dude. It's everything, man.
Harry Potter is a cult classic for a reason, right? It's kind of in the name. It's not so much about what is buried beneath us, it's why. And I believe it is, well, due to the reset. Whether it was a reset that was forced and artificial, or maybe divine, by powers beyond what we can comprehend. That is the biggest pause for me personally, but that's actually all we have for you today, folks.
Once you find out how easy it is for buried monuments to be hidden in plain sight as natural phenomena, you start to realize everything they've taught us about ancient history is just a cope. Here are just a few archaeological sites from around the world before they were excavated and after. This is the Pyramid of Teotihuacan in Mexico. Before they dug it up in the 1900s, it looked like this. Just an oddly shaped hill, kind of like those hills in China. They promise us are just hills and definitely not pyramids. Or the hidden Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia, which again they insist is just a hill. And if you think otherwise, you're a fraud and a con artist. Here is the Pyramid of Teotihuacan today, one of the largest structures in all of Mesoamerica. Once a totally natural hill, now a sprawling complex of stone megastructures that we still have no idea who or how they were even built. Anyone who claims they know is just coping. Here's another before and after of the same structure, also known as the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan, and it literally just looked like a grassy hill. Even all of these smaller structures laying around the main pyramid were all completely buried underground. An entire ancient city complex hidden as a natural geological formation for hundreds of years. And it seems like our entire world is built on top of sites like these. Like the Great Pyramid of Cholula in Mexico as well, which barely even resembled a hill, just a natural outcropping of the ground pre-excavation. That later turned out to be the biggest known pyramid in the world by sheer volume. It may not look like it, but it's an absolute chode, insanely wide at almost half a kilometer at its base. Now, the hidden Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia would be bigger if it turned out to be a pyramid, but no, that's fake. Don't look at that. That one's just a hill, remember? The world-famous Chichen Itza looked just like a rickety little mud hut on top of a mound before it was fully uncovered as one of the greatest pyramids of the Mayan civilization. Same with the Temple of the Great Jaguar in Tikal in Guatemala. At first, just a little stub sticking out from the jungle overgrowth, and of course, a whole-ass pyramid underneath. If monuments like these are this hidden after just a couple hundred years, imagine how much more they'd be after a few thousand. Here's before and after the excavation of an ancient Greek stadium, which kinda just looked like an empty field that slightly dipped inwards before the rows of seats and central playing area were fully revealed. The Temple of Artemis in Turkey, only 2 pillars barely visible before more were excavated and an entire courtyard uncovered beneath. The Ephesus Theater didn't even remotely resemble anything man-made, just the most natural-looking hill I've ever seen. And lo and behold, laying under it was a massive ancient theater complex, complete with a center stage, rows of seats, pillars, stairs, the whole 9 yards. This is an ancient library from the Hellenistic era, again initially just 2 small pillars, turned out to be an entire foundation of a building and even more sprawling remains all around it, all buried underground. This other theater in Turkey, you could kinda tell there was something going on under here, but never would you imagine it would be another courtyard this massive. Speaking of Turkey, we of course have the world famous Göbekli Tepe, which was completely invisible before unveiling the oldest known ancient site in the world, at over 12,000 years old, utterly shattering our mainstream understanding of history. And now the elites at the WEF and other mainstream archaeologists are doing everything they can to downplay it and make sure it stays hidden. For real, that's actually happening. Not a conspiracy, I even made a video on it, check it out after if you want. Here's the Ziggurat of Ur in Iraq, which again just looked like an oddly shaped mound with suspicious looking edges and angles before it was dug out, revealing quite possibly the most significant monumentous structure in all of Mesopotamia. Kinda looked like something you'd see in, I don't know, Utah or the Grand Canyon, but those are definitely just natural formations, oh 100%. Or the underwater Yonaguni monument off the coast of Japan, which is clearly just a natural geological phenomenon. Yeah, I know, that's literally what they say it is, and somehow we're the crazy ones. Of course, the Sphinx being in Egypt was covered up to its shoulders in sand prior to excavation, this one was admittedly a lot more visible, as there aren't any trees or plant coverage in the desert like there is in the Amazon, which tends to completely bury man-made structures after only a few years, and is also kind of the reason the most well-known, commonly studied ancient civilizations are almost always in the desert. Not necessarily because that's where they all came from, but simply because it's easier to spot buried sites in the sand than it is in the jungle, like Machu Picchu, which was practically entirely covered with plant overgrowth before. Like, you couldn't even see anything there, only to reveal a sprawling village of structures, buildings, walls, and walkways beneath the foliage, all on top of a mountain, no less. Really makes you think what else is hidden out there, and what else they're promising us are just natural formations when we've barely even grazed the tip. Like, if all of these were this hidden before getting excavated, what makes us insist on knowing that these aren't? Cope harder in the comments if you disagree.
And that's right, we gathered around the rabbit hole, we dived nose first down into it, and it wasn't to find the bottom, it was to find the thread which resides in amongst all the noise and all the static, extract it and practice our discernment along the way. If you enjoyed today's episode, let me know what you enjoyed and why. Drop a like on the video, and if you're new to the show, I hope I earned your subscription today. If I did, make sure you hit that notification bell. But the most important thing that you can all do for me today right now is stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.